Hello Algebra 1 students, this is lesson 41. Our objective is how do you find rates of change and slopes of lines. So first of all, let's define what a rate of change is. A rate of change is a ratio that compares the change in one quantity with the change in another. Something you're probably pretty familiar with. You may not have known it as the name of being a rate of change, but a familiar one is miles per hour, like a speed. Is a rate of change. It says 70 miles per hour means you can go 70 miles in 1 hour, 70 miles per hour. Maybe miles per gallon. I guess we're talking about cars, I guess. You get 32 miles per 1 gallon. So on 1 gallon of gas, your car can go 32 miles. Maybe you can type 23 words in 1 minute. So it's a words per minute type of thing. Or maybe you read 10 chapters every 7 days. These are all rates of change because they're comparing two different quantities. You can read 10 chapters. You can go from 0 chapters to 10 chapters over a time span of 7 days, from 0 days to 7 days. So these are just what we call rates of change. So this is just like example 2. It says the fees shown below are for canoe rentals. What is the rate of change for the rental fees? So first thing I need to see is how fast things are changing. So the hours I think will be a little bit easier to calculate. So what I need to see is how much did they change to go from 3 to 6? Well, I notice I went up 3 hours. And same thing to go from 6 to 9 hours, I went up 3. So the other thing I need to check is how did the cost change? Well, cost is a little bit harder to figure out. So sometimes we like to go the other way. We like to say 37.15 minus 22.15, right? The second one minus the first one comes out to be 0.051. So it's a change of $15. Same thing here. We can do that 52.15 minus 37.15. And again, we get a change of $15. Okay, so notice the cost is going up $15 each time as the time goes up with 3 hours. So if we want to find the rate of change, I'm going to say the cost is going to be $15 for every 3 hours. Now you could say that is the cost per 3 hours, but normally we like to write those as what we call a unit rate. That's where we simplify those down. So notice 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 15 3 times, and that's going to be, 5 times. So it's going to be $5 per 1 hour. Or sometimes we say $5 per hour. Alright, now there's a special type of rate of change, and then we call that slope. And this rate of change is for lines, how steep lines are. As you can see here, I've drawn 4 different lines, a black, a blue, a red, and a green. And when we talk about the slope of them, or how steep they are, we talk about how much the slope moves up or down, divided by how much the slope moves left or right. So a kind of an easier way to say that, and you may have heard this before, is to say rise, how much it moves up or down, divided by run, how much it moves left or right. So let's go and just start off here with the black line. And let's pick any 2 points. I'm going to pick this point and this point. So I need to see how much it rose. How much did it rise? So notice this one is right here and this one is right here. So how much did it rise? So, and a side note, we use m to represent slope for some reason. So the rise on this is going to be 2. Since I went in a positive direction, I went up. It's going to be a positive 2. Then I went from here over to here. So let's see, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 over 6. And of course, I can reduce that to be 1/3. So the slope of that black line is 1/3. Notice it's positive, and this one is going up. Now if I'd pick any other 2 points, or either one of those and another point on there, I would have still ended up with that same slope, because on lines, those slopes, or the rate of change, is constant. Okay, so now let's try the blue one. Let's pick, let's try to make this a little harder. Let's pick this point right here. That one right there. Maybe one all the way down here. Okay, that point down there. So let's see how much it rose, how much it went up or down. Now we could start at either point. Let's start at the one on the left, just for fun. So to move up or down, in this case I'm moving down, so I'm moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went down 9. So slope of that blue line, since it went down, I'm going to say -9, divided by how much did I move left to right. So to get from this point over to here, I moved right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I went right 9. So the -9 over 9 just comes out to be -1. Now if I'd gone the other way, if I'd started at this point and moved up, I've gone up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, and moved left 9. So it would have been +9 over -9, still coming out with a -1. So you can pick any 2 points, move in either direction. As long as you go with rise over run, you end up with the same slope. Alright, let's find the slope of that red line. Let's pick a point here, and pick a point here, let's say. So how much did I go up or down? Well, in this case, I didn't go up or down at all. And I went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So if I have 0 cookies and divide it amongst my 4 friends, each friend will get 0. So the slope of this red line is 0. So notice real quick, if the slope is positive, it's like you're going uphill if you're going from left to right. If the slope is negative, it's like you're going downhill. And it kind of makes sense. If it has no slope, you're not going uphill or downhill. This is going to be exactly level, which just leaves one more option, this vertical line. And let's look at that. The vertical line, let's pick 2 points. Let's pick, I don't know, this one and this one. So the slope of that line, the rise in this case is going to be 2. If I went from here up to here, right, 1, 2. And the run, how much I move left to right, is 0. But 2 divided by 0, remember we cannot divide by 0. This is undefined. We put a 0 with a line through it, meaning it does not exist. Or we could say undefined slope. Okay? So that one's an undefined slope. Alright, now wouldn't it be nice if we just could throw in a formula if I had 2 points and be able to find the slope? Well, that's what we're going to figure out real quick. Is these are just 2 generic points. x1 and y1, those are the x and the y coordinates from the first point. That's why they have a subscript of 1. And x2, y2 are coordinates from a second point. So think about if I wanted to find out how far it was from this point to this point, I would need to take this number, whatever it was, and subtract this number. Right? So let's say this is 7 and this is 5. If I subtracted them, that distance would be 2. Okay? Which, if we were going by how many spaces it was, we'd say 2. But maybe these are going by 5s. Like maybe this is like 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. I don't know what the scale is on this. It's not marked. So I can't say that the rise is 2. I'm going to say the rise. Notice this mark right here is at y2. And this mark down here is at y1. So if I wanted to find how much it rose, I would say the y coordinate from the second point over here on the right minus the y coordinate from this one here on the left. Okay, and then if I wanted to find out how much it moved left or right, I have to see how far it goes from here to here. Same idea here, this is x2 and this is x1, so I want to say x2 minus x1 would get me how far it it ran. So I'd say x2 minus x1. So this is the formula for finding the slope of a line. Write that in your quick reference or memorize it, your choice, but you will need to use that. And we're going to try one just real quick here. So I'm just going to label these. It says find the slope of a line that passes through this point and that point. I'm going to label this x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2. And after you start doing this a whole lot, you could stop labeling those maybe. But right there is where most people make their mistake, is by plugging in the numbers in the wrong place. So the slope is going to equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's going to be 3 minus a minus 1 over negative 6 minus 2. Pause the video, make sure you understand where I'm getting those numbers from, and make sure that you can do the same thing. Okay, good. Now that you understand, this is going to be 3 plus 1, right? Because minus a minus 1, I'll be saying adding its opposite, over negative 6 minus 2. Well, 3 plus 1 is 4. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. That reduces down to negative 1 over 2. Since that one is negative 1/2. Your homework is right there. I think you can figure that out. Good job.